Suicide worm. A cricket does not belong in deep water, and that is exactly what makes this parasite feel so unnatural. The so-called suicide worm is usually a horsehair worm, a long, thin parasite that spends part of its life hidden inside insects such as crickets, grasshoppers, and sometimes other small arthropods. At first, there is almost nothing dramatic to see from the outside. The infected insect keeps walking, feeding, hiding, and moving through grass or soil as if it were normal. But inside its body, the worm is slowly growing, using the host as a private shelter until it becomes an adult. The problem is that the adult worm cannot finish its life cycle on dry land. It needs water to escape mate and release the next generation. So the host becomes a transport system carrying the parasite to the one place where the worm needs to go. When the worm is ready, the infected insect may begin moving toward water, even if that choice is dangerous and completely against its survival. A cricket that would normally avoid drowning can end up jumping into a puddle, stream, pond, or pool. Then the worm starts to come out. Sliding from the insect's body is a long black thread that can be much larger than people expect. It looks impossible because the parasite seems too long to have been folded inside such a small animal. But the result is clear. The host is pushed into a place that helps the worm and destroys the insect. False tongue. Inside the mouth of a fish, there is a parasite that does something so specific it almost sounds invented. The tongue-eating louse enters through the fish's gills, then moves into the mouth and attaches itself to the base of the tongue. From there, it feeds on blood, slowly damaging the tissue until the original tongue weakens and shrinks. But the parasite does not simply destroy the tongue and leave the fish unable to function. It stays in that exact position, locked where the tongue used to be, almost like a living replacement part. The fish can continue eating, but now every movement inside its mouth happens with a parasite sitting where a body part should be. It takes over a structure and becomes part of the way the animal lives. The real animal behind this is usually known as Cymothoa exigua, a type of parasitic isopod found in marine fish. It is often called the only known parasite that functionally replaces an organ, which is why it became one of the most famous parasites in the world. The fish is not being controlled like a puppet, and the parasite is not trying to kill it quickly. A dead host would be useless. Instead, the louse depends on the fish staying alive, swimming, feeding, and carrying it around inside the mouth. The result is more disturbing because it is so practical. The parasite turns the fish into a long-term home and food source while sitting in the place of the tongue like it belongs there. In nature, many parasites steal nutrients, but this one goes further. Alien eyes. A snail moving slowly across a leaf should be one of the easiest animals to ignore. But this parasite turns it into something almost impossible not to notice. The creature behind this is Leucochloridium, a parasitic flatworm that begins its strange journey inside a snail after the snail eats parasite eggs left in bird droppings. Once inside, the parasite does not simply sit in the body and steal nutrients. It grows into swollen, moving sacs that push into the snail's eye stalks, turning them into bright, pulsing tubes. The eye stalks can look striped, swollen, and alive, in a way that does not seem natural for a snail. Instead of hiding in damp, shadowed places like a normal snail would, the infected animal can become more exposed, climbing into open spots where it is easier to see. The movement is the key. Those pulsing eye stalks can resemble tiny caterpillars, and that illusion matters, because birds are the next host the parasite needs. A bird sees the strange motion, attacks the snail, and eats the infected parts, or sometimes the whole animal. Inside the bird, the parasite reaches the stage it could never complete inside the snail. Later, its eggs leave the bird through droppings, and the cycle can begin again when another snail feeds in the wrong place. What makes this parasite feel so unreal is how visual its strategy is. The snail becomes a moving signal, a living advertisement designed for predators, while the parasite uses that danger as transportation into the next body. Zombie crab. A crab usually protects itself with claws, a hard shell, and quick movements along the seafloor, but none of that helps when the invader enters almost invisibly. The parasite behind this case is Saculina, a barnacle that does not look like the barnacles people see stuck to rocks, boats, or whales. Its young female form finds a crab, reaches a soft joint in the shell, and injects a tiny mass of cells into the body. From that point, the parasite grows inside the crab like a hidden root system, spreading through the tissues and taking nutrients without looking like a normal animal anymore. The crab keeps walking, feeding, and surviving, but its body is no longer working only for itself. The parasite has turned the crab into a living machine for its own reproduction. Instead of using its energy to grow, molt, mate, or produce its own young, the infected crab begins protecting the parasite's reproductive sac as if it were carrying its own eggs. A female crab can be forced into caring for parasite larvae, cleaning and guarding them beneath the body. Even male crabs can be altered in ways that make them behave more like egg-carrying females, despite never being built for that role. When the parasite is ready, the crab helps release the larvae into the water, moving its body in a way that spreads them out. The crab is not simply sick, it has been redirected. Zombie roach. A cockroach is one of the hardest insects to stop, which is why this parasite feels almost unfair. The emerald jewel wasp does not simply attack the roach and kill it right away. It uses precision. First, the wasp delivers a sting that temporarily paralyzes the roach's front legs, giving it control without starting a messy fight. Then it places a second sting into a very specific part of the roach's nervous system. After that, the roach can still walk, but it no longer behaves like a normal animal trying to survive. It does not run away with the same urgency. It does not fight with the same force. The wasp has not destroyed the body. It has changed the decision-making inside it. What happens next is what gives this parasite its zombie name. The wasp grabs one of the roach's antennae and leads it like a leash, guiding it into a burrow. The roach is not fully paralyzed, which makes the scene even stranger. Its legs still work, but its survival drive has been weakened. Once inside, the wasp lays an egg on the roach, seals the burrow, and leaves. The larva hatches and feeds on the living roach in a careful order, keeping it alive long enough to serve as fresh food. The horror is not speed, but control. The wasp turns one of the most resilient insects on Earth into a quiet, walking nursery for its young. Skin larva. A small swollen mark on the skin can look so ordinary that many people would first blame a mosquito, a spider, or a simple infected bite. But with the human botfly, that small opening can become the entrance to one of the strangest parasite stories in nature. The real parasite is Dermatobia hominis, a fly found mainly in tropical areas of Central and South America. What makes it especially unusual is that the adult fly does not always need to land on the host herself. Instead, she can capture another insect, such as a mosquito, and attach her eggs to its body. That smaller insect then becomes a delivery system. When it lands on warm skin to feed, the heat helps the eggs hatch. The tiny larva slips into the bite wound or a nearby opening and settles under the skin, where it begins to grow inside a protected pocket of living tissue. The disturbing part is how controlled the whole process is. The larva does not randomly travel through the body like a spreading infection. It stays in one place and turns that small spot into a breathing chamber. A tiny hole remains open at the surface, allowing air to reach the larva while the rest of its body stays hidden underneath. As it grows, the lump can become painful, swollen, or irritated, and some people report a sensation of movement beneath the skin. From the parasite's point of view, the host is not just food. The host is shelter, warmth, protection, and oxygen, all in one place. When the larva is fully developed, it eventually leaves the skin, falls to the ground, and continues its transformation into an adult fly. What makes this parasite feel so impossible is the quiet beginning. One bite can look forgettable, but beneath it, an insect is using the body like a living nursery. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you already know what to do.